onye dị mma na onye dị njọ. Asị na anya na-afụ obi, asị na anya na-afụ ime obi.
Once upon a time, there lived two sisters, Urena and Azuka. They were from a poor background. They did not have food all the time. Along with their parents, they would have to farm on people's farm to make ends meet. Urena always dreamt of becoming very rich. She wanted her own home and her own house. She wanted so much money. The only way she believed she could achieve this was through marrying a wealthy man. She would only talk to suitors who were from wealthy backgrounds. Azuka, on the other hand, wanted to marry for love. She believed that a loving husband was better than a rich one. So when Toby asked for her hand in marriage, she accepted him because he loved her. Toby was not rich, he did not have his own farm, but he was very hardworking. After a year, Urena married Dunduka. Dunduka was a very wealthy man. He had plots of land, he had his own farm, and he was a very rich farmer. A few years passed, and Urena had two children, a boy and a girl, while Azuka had only one girl. Although Urena was now wealthy, she did not help her family in any way. Her parents, because they were now old, could not farm and depended on Azuka to provide for their needs. Azuka was happy to help her parents, but she also had her daughter to feed. Plus, she and her husband were not making so much. One day, Unduka asked his wife, Urena, that she should at least take in her niece, thereby alleviating the burdens on her family. They had only two children and were very wealthy. They could take another child. Urena did not like the idea. She had escaped poverty and did not want to look back. She did not want to be reminded that she was from a poor home. What do you mean? She asked. You want our children to be exposed to poverty, eh? Those smelling people? Those smelling people are your family members, Urena, her husband said. Plus, this girl is your niece, your flesh and blood. She is no stranger to you. After much persuasion, Urena agreed. Azuka was so happy, at least now she had only to focus on her parents. Who better to take care of her daughter Ngozi than Urena, her own sister? Ngozi moved in with her aunts and her family. Ngozi was so happy. She could have her own bed now and play with her cousins. She did not have to work on the farm as her uncle had workers. Ngozi was happy. She called her aunt Urena Mama. However, what Ngozi thought would be a good life became a nightmare. Urena did not allow her sleep on any of the beds in the house, saying that Ngozi was poor and smelling. She made Ngozi sleep on the kitchen floor at night. That was where she would sleep. Urena's husband Nduka was surprised at this. Why are you being wicked to this girl? He asked. Why can't she sleep on the bed? But Urena hissed and walked out on him. When the family ate together, Urena would not allow Ngozi to eat with them. She told Ngozi to go eat where the goats and the pigs were kept. Her children did not like the way she maltreated Ngozi, and they said so. Mama, what is it? Why do you hate this girl so much? She is Auntie Azuka's daughter, oh, your niece. Plus, you were also poor like them. If you do not like her, then send her back home. We do not need her to clean after us. We can do it ourselves. My friend, will you shut up? It is because of me that you people are living in luxury now. If I was stupid like my sister and married a poor man, what would you people have done? Urena maltreated Ngozi all the time. She starved her and beat her every day. Ngozi cried that she wanted to go back home. One day, Urena beat her so badly that the girl fell and did not get up. Will you stand up, you stupid girl? I told you to clean this whole house. Look at it. But Ngozi did not respond. Then Urena's daughter came. What is it, Mama? What did you do to Ngozi? Why is she on the floor? I did not do anything to her. Oh. Can you imagine? I told this girl to go and take food and eat. She started running and then she fell. Why would she just fall like that because she's running? When Urena's daughter got closer, she saw that Ngozi had bruises all over her body and her neck was broken. This is more than a fall, Mama, she said. This girl is dead. Eh? What? Dead? That cannot be. But it was true. Ngozi had died. Urena cried and cried and cried. During the family meeting, she told everyone how she loved Ngozi so much. She took care of Ngozi like her second daughter. As Urena spoke, her husband and her children were in amazement. Azuka cried. This was her only child, and now she was gone. The next day, Ngozi was buried. That night, Azuka could not sleep. She went outside and kept crying. Then she stood up to go back into her house. And that's when Ngozi appeared. She was wearing all white. Ngozi, Ngozi, is me, Mama. Azuka called out, but Ngozi did not respond. She turned her head to the left. She looked straight ahead and then pointed. Azuka turned towards the left and saw nothing. No one. When she turned back, Ngozi had disappeared. Azuka was afraid. What just happened now? What was Ngozi pointing at? She had to see the Ezemo in the morning. He would know. The next few weeks, Nduka's business started to crumble. He lost most of his farmlands to fire. His business partners quit on him. His farmers left. Then his children became sick. Then he took them to the herbalist. The herbalist said he could not find anything wrong with them. The sickness seemed to have come from nowhere. Before long, the family began to lose everything. Urena panicked. She refused to go back to a life of suffering. So she left her husband for a married man. He had so much money, he was wealthier than Nduka. So she followed him. Nduka and his children were heartbroken by what Urena did. They could not believe that she would abandon the family now when everything seemed to go down. Urena was happy with herself. She had escaped poverty once more. So she left her husband. What of it? She said, she cannot go down with a sinking ship. What Urena did not know was that her new husband's first wife was a member of the village coven. She was a witch. As she moved into the house as a second wife, her co-wife would always beat Urena. She maltreated her, and if Urena challenged her, she would turn Urena into a dumb person, someone who could not speak. Urena thought to herself that she could endure. After all, her husband showered her with money. She could not go back to her former husband, Nduka, and beg him. That would be shameful. But one night, when it was the first wife's turn to sleep with her husband, Urena chanced her and took her turn. This made the witch very angry. The next day, she confronted Urena. You fool! So you dare sleep with our husband last night when you knew it was my turn, eh? And so? Is it my fault that he asked me to sleep with him? As Urena turned to leave, the witch brought out her staff, and using it, she turned Urena mad. Now, back home, the chief priest had revealed that it was Urena that killed Azuka's daughter, and because of this, her husband and children were met with misfortune. Nduka and his children begged Azuka for forgiveness. They were not able to protect her daughter Ngozi, and then they went along with their mother's lies. Azuka forgave them. Urena wandered the streets as a mad woman. Her family refused to take her in. After a few years, Azuka gave birth to two children, a boy and a girl, and her husband Tobe became a wealthy man as he owned his own farmlands now. Thank you so much for listening to another episode. If you liked it, please subscribe, like, comment, share. Thank you to those who have subscribed. Thank you to those who have supported. Until next time, goodbye.